All right, welcome back to Chaos Collectibles, everybody. So a buddy of mine reached out to me and asked me about paints. What paints do I use? Mr. Tom Vallejo. All right, so Mr. Tom Vallejo, I use your paints, buddy. I use Vallejo paints. So I got these bad boys on Amazon. I want to say they're probably about 30 bucks probably for a whole thing of paints right here. I believe these are half-ounce sizes. I don't believe they're full ounce. They do last a while. I have a tendency to go through a lot of the blacks, the whites, and the browns more than any other colors. So I'm running a little low on these bad boys. So there's certain ones you could buy for like $5 a piece. But I mean, that's pretty expensive. You know, you get like 16 of these for $30 to $40 depending on where you get them. Sometimes you can find them on eBay as well, like I did with this one here. I want to say I got this one for about 20 bucks, and I think it was just the white one was opened or something like that. So it was like a brand new paint set. Somebody used the white. So there you go. This is right here, so you can get a good look at what we got here. That is what we have. So, and is this upside down? I think it is upside down. I apologize for that. So this is model color set here. Model color set. I just have the paints inside the container. And these are Vallejo paints. And we also have the game color. They have so many different types of these. And I do mix a lot of my paints. However, you may run into an issue just because they're better paints. They do cover better. A lot better than the Walmart paints. Some people will say otherwise, but I've used the Walmart full cart paints and I don't like them. I like these a lot better. But the paint can still scratch off your figures rather easily. So I highly suggest, and I haven't done this to all my figures because I was worried about texture in the past. So anymore, I am trying to prime my figures to get the paint to adhere better. However, that isn't going to guarantee anything either, because the skeleton that I painted the other day ended up falling off my shelf after I sat him up there and he was good to go for a few hours. And where the leg hits the hip joint, kind of come down, and there is a little scratch in that. So I ended up painting over it. It will stick a little bit better, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be 100% scratch proof. Now you can get some sealers. They do make different types of sealers. I haven't used any of those, so I don't know how well they are. I've heard different things about different sealers. You want to go with acrylic though. If you go with anything, and these are acrylic paints, I want to stress that. If you do go with a paint that is an oil-based paint, that stuff will never dry. That stuff will be tacky till the end of time. And even with some of those cheaper paints, like some that I got from Hobby Lobby, like when I did there's a figure that I painted up there. I did his head a while back, and it took like 2 years before his hair wasn't tacky anymore. So some of them cheaper Hobby Lobby paints may end up making your figures tacky. Now with these, you do want to put these out and, you know, put a couple drops of paint in there, a little bit of water to kind of thin the paints out to help them cover better. You just may have to use a few more coats of paint. As far as brushes go, I'm going to turn this into a video of things that I use for customization. So as far as brushes go, I've bought a couple, I don't want to say high-end brushes, but some of the more expensive ones from Hobby Lobby. Work pretty good. You just want to clean them bad boys real good every time you use them. Don't let the paint harden up on them. You're going to ruin your brushes. I've gone through a lot of brushes doing these custom figures, but for the most part, I do buy cheaper brushes. I've noticed that with Hobby Lobby, they have awesome colored pencils, which end up looking like an oil painting if you do it properly. But as far as like paints and stuff like that go, they really don't have the best selection out there. A lot of their paints are really cheap. A lot of their brushes are really cheap. As far as sculpting stuff goes, I did buy some cheap sculpting tools. I don't know where the hell they're at. I gotta find them bad boys because I'm gonna need them here pretty soon. Anyhow, prime your figures. Now this primer here is one that I used. It's a Rust-Oleum 2-in-1 primer and paint, all right? I used this when I did that custom battle cat back there that's all black. That's on my top shelf there. There's a video of it. Now this is a satin paint, but I tell you what, satin's gonna be like not quite super dull, but it's not supposed to be very glossy. But that battle cat turned out pretty glossy. The Rust-Oleum paint, it takes a long time to dry, and it may end up being tacky on your plastics. I'm not 100% sure. That one turned out okay. So I did go on Amazon and I did buy one of these a while back when I was doing an LJN figure. I did, let's see, Dino Bravo, I completely painted him. And then I had a Broken Earthquake that I ended up doing with this. I did go pretty heavy on this because I wanted to make sure I completely covered everything good and the paint would stick well. But this is Army Color. And this is the, what is it called? Skeleton Bone. This is Skeleton Bone. It's like a tan color. This is what I used for that skeleton and that head. There's still a little bit of paint in here. I could probably get away with doing probably maybe another figure, maybe two. But with those resin LJN figures, I probably could have done, let's see, there's two big figures there. I probably could have done 4 smaller figures. So you can expect to get probably 5 figures out of one of these, maybe more. I'm just throwing an estimation out there, but I'm gonna start priming my stuff to get that paint to adhere a little better, but it's not guaranteed. The reason I didn't do it before is I was concerned about the texture, which it does leave a texture. And it feels a little grittier to the touch. I don't know what it is that these toy companies use as far as their paints go to make their paint stick so well, but I haven't been able to figure that out. Just kind of trial and error through the entire process. But I highly recommend using this. Tape off any areas that you do not want to paint, and then just give it a quick now when you start it, say this is the thing, don't just spray here because it's going to start running over the side. Start, go past it, come down, go past it, okay? And then once you're done, shake the can up real good. Once you're done, turn that can upside down and spray out, clean the nozzle. Otherwise, you can get stuff all over your figure. Hope that makes sense. So what are some of the other things that I use? My buddy Remco Customs told me about this Procreate Sculpt. I used to use Sculpt. It's very easy to use. You have to either bake it or boil it in water or throw it in the oven and bake it. That's how I've done most of my customs up until the last couple that I did. This is a 2-part compound. You have a light gray, you have a dark gray, and it tells you inside here how much of each to use, because one is a resin, one is a hardener. So that's kind of how that works. If you want something softer, you want something that's more rigid, and it basically gives you the dry times on this as well. I want to say this is probably, I'm just throwing a number out there, $15 or something. You get a tube that's as long as this of each. And I could have gotten a lot more done with this stuff, but I was playing around with it, stuff hardened up, things didn't turn out the way I wanted them to because it does not act like clay. It's a little more difficult to shape, it's a lot more rubbery, it's a lot more sticky. If you want to texture anything, you have to like press into it. There was a snake neck video that I did that kind of shows you how I used it on that particular figure. You can't see it very well. The video was kind of a bomb, but it is what it is. You have to press into that stuff to get it to have any type of texture or something like that. Next is vinyls. Joann Fabrics. I got this right here. They sell their stuff in yards. And by yards, it would be this way, but I usually get things done in feet. So they charge me about 1/3 of the cost for it. So I have an ass ton of vinyls for leather And for some of them, I just paint this black leather a different color. Paint sticks to it just fine. Furs, this is what I use for the Thulsa Doom cape. I have a big old piece of this stuff here. I also have this dark fur here that I've used initially on the Thulsa Doom, but it was way too long. I also have this here. I believe this is the one that I used for my buddy Matt Watson's figure that I did for him about 1.5 years ago. Smaller strips as well, a little bit different color. And then I have some vinyl for capes. I've done some, I think it was 1 or 2 custom Zolo capes. This stuff's a lot thinner than the Zolo material. The only thing is, it's got this backing on it. And sometimes that white stuff just kind of sticks and it's a little hard to get off, but this peels off the back, as you can see. So just a couple bucks a piece for each one of these things. I've gotten some chains from Hobby Lobby. You can get chains there too. They cut really easy with the with little wire cutters and stuff. So that's pretty much what I use for customizing. As far as figures go, I will take different figures from different lines, hack them, put them together for different things depending on what I want from that figure. So I'm hoping to start working on the pirate here pretty soon. I wanted to make sure that head was going to be a decent size before I went out and bought additional parts for it. There's an auction that's ending later today for a couple figures that I want to steal some stuff from. Hack up, take some parts, so I'll have it for that pirate. So I'm hoping that I can get most of that pirate done before that stuff comes in. It would probably be another week or 2 for that stuff to get here, so which gives me plenty of time to start working on the pirate up until that point. So I just wanted to get on here, kind of show you guys some of the stuff that I used since our buddy Tom inquired about the paint. I figured I'd go into a little more depth, but yeah, there you have it. If there's any other questions that you have, feel free to reach out. I'll do my best to answer them. Sometimes it's a little tougher to do it through text. Sometimes it's better to show you. So yeah, thanks again for tuning in, everybody. I hope you all have an awesome day. Until next time. Woo!